One. Hi guys, I'm the real Randy Chavez. I'm coming at you today with my mentor, my brother, one of the friends that I love most in life, Daniel Hardwick. How's it going?
Randy Chavez, thank you so much for having me on, brother.
For those of you that do not know, a after I got out of the military, I was at a community college where I wasn't really too happy. I got a job working with our friend Dean. Dean was just an IT guy. He was always running wires, always, hired me to like, hey, hold the bag, help do this. And I go into Dan's place, or I didn't know Dan, I didn't know anyone. I just see a bunch of numbers on the board. And I was like, what is this place? And he's like, I don't know. They like sell money. I was like, what? It's like they do loans. It's like, oh, that's interesting. How do you get in that line of work? He's like, I don't know. I could introduce you. He introduced us, I think, in April of 2017. I was still in school, so I got hired. I think May 15th was my first day. And that first interaction with me, what do you remember about that?
You had me at hello. You really, truly did, man. It was, I liked you instantaneously. I loved your personality. And, from the first day that you came in, you were an absolute sponge. Every word that came out of my mouth, you just absorbed it. You implemented it into your own style. And your work ethic was truly second to none. Always the first guy in, last one to leave. And, not only did you have natural ability, but, I've always said, and you've heard the words come out of my mouth that, tremendous work ethic always triumphs over natural ability. When you possess both, it's a lethal combination, and the sky is truly the limit.
This was, I don't believe this was your first company. Originally, what was your first job in finance?
So directly out of college, I went out, I got my Series 7, I got my 66, got my life accident and health. I got on the phones and I was an experienced salesperson, but face to face. When you get into phone sales, it's like a rude awakening. I literally got my tuchus kicked in several times, over and over and over again, to the point where I was drawn to tears. You have two choices at that point. It's either one, you give up, or number two, you try a million times harder. And that's what I did. I had two great mentors in my life, and they gave me a tremendous amount of knowledge, positive influence, and listening to what they taught me, I got back on that pogo stick, kept going, and eventually I learned how to sell. Um, the firm that I was working for, this was back in 2003. A lot of people started getting into mortgages that time. A lot of people also left the firm because they got better offers elsewhere. And that's when I found out about working in a call center atmosphere selling health insurance policies. So I took the knowledge that I had acquired selling stocks over the phone, implemented that in terms of insurance, and I worked my way up to be a top producer within a matter of 30 days, setting all-time sales records, and I wound up becoming the managing director for that organization, and I wound up working with them for about 11 years.
So 11. So you go from, well, I guess it wasn't that hard of a transition if you go from one thing that's, I guess, similar, you're still selling on the phone, but then to being the top producer in 30 days. How long did it take you to go from that to the manager?
I was about 18 months. I became the managing director.
Okay. And so did you just hit the ground running? What do you think attributed most to your success there? Was it past experience in sales? Was it the work ethic? What you learned from your mentors?
It was all work ethic. I had a little secret to my success, which obviously was getting in very, very early. But when everybody left at 6 o'clock, what I would do is pretend that I was leaving. I'd drive around the block. I'd come back to the office. And at that time, I'm going to date myself here, but leads used to come in on a fax machine, and they would come in all night long. So I would literally sit there and call the leads on the West Coast until 11, 12 o'clock midnight, hit the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning, be back in at 8 o'clock, and just keep doing it over and over and over again. I didn't put my deals that I closed on the board until a little bit after lunch because I didn't want anybody to catch on to what I was doing. But, the top producer besides me was doing about 80 deals a month. I was doing 130, 140. We wound up within a matter of 6 months of selling an insurance policy, becoming the number one writer for this particular insurance company within a matter of 6 months. Well, they flew us to Jamaica. They gave us all types of bonuses and stuff. But it was all about the one call close over the phone. And, that previous knowledge, they always say failure plus failure equals success. And that's exactly what it was.
So I know you said you dated yourself a little bit with the facts, but so this was figure like a year or so into doing it. So when you became the managing director, around what, and you were able to do this pretty much up until, kind of Obamacare was implemented, correct?
Correct. Yeah, that literally crushed our business.
So this was, I'm trying to remember when Obamacare came in. I think it was in the military when that came in. So this was early 2000s, right?
It was 2009 is when they started putting the wheels in motion.
Yeah.
To the point where in 2013 in November, that's when they closed the organization. I wrote it out to the bitter end. My mentor who ran that company, we're still the best of friends to this day. I actually hung out with him this weekend. Awesome guy, man. Awesome guy.
So you said you had a couple of mentors. What do you think was the most important lesson that you learned from either one or both? And how are they different?
So with my first mentor, he taught me that you can do anything you want as long as you believe in yourself. You set goals, and behind those goals, you come up with an action plan, definitive. You got to write it down, put it on paper. You can't just have it in your head. Have it in your head is 10% of the battle. You got to put it on paper, and you have to put it to action. My second mentor, he's taught me many, many lessons. The biggest thing that he taught me is that with every crisis, there's an opportunity. He called it crisis-opportunity. A lot of people are going through a very difficult time right now. Inflation. I mean, this is something that's unprecedented as far as your generation, my generation. I've never been through a real economic cycle like the one we're experiencing right now. But the one thing that he tells me is that as long as you have a long time horizon with respect to your investments, we're truly in an excellent time to buy. As Warren Buffett says, be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful. So now, obviously you don't want to invest more money that you need to pay your bills. But now and I'm not saying that we're at a bottom, because I don't know. I'd be lying if I told you. I don't have my crystal ball with me today. But the bottom line is that if you have a long-term time horizon, you're not going to retire for 15 to 25, 30 years. You put your money to work.
Yeah, agreed. So with everything that you've been doing for the last 20 years, what do you think was your one single greatest investment?
My single greatest investment, besides myself, always invest in yourself. I'm just going to go on a little bit of a digression here, but always
Do it.
invest in yourself. Yeah, you got to read books. You have to read books. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Read it. There's so many good books that are out there. Larry Winget has a bunch of great books that played a tremendous influence in my life. Your Success is Your Own Damn Fault is one of them. Definitely invest in knowledge. Listen to every successful person out there. A lot of people repeat a lot of the same things. Sometimes you have to hear it from 30 different people before it truly makes sense. Got to also.
I'm losing you a little bit. The
Oh,
audio. That did not help.
I'm out. Okay.
Oh, wait, there we go.
Good?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Sorry about that. The AirPods dropped out.
It's all good. So you were saying about after investing in yourself, listening to 30 different people.
Invest in the S&P 500. You want to do that every single month for as long as you can. If you can put away 50% of your income, on a monthly basis, always do it. If you can do 10%, 15%.
Oh, Dan, you went black. You're I do not see where you are. Okay, hang on. Your mic is not connected, it says. And it says I cannot unmute you because your mic is not connected. Okay.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
We're good.
All right, perfect. I'm so sorry about that. First
All
time
right,
on a
S&P
podcast.
500.
Yeah, so invest in the S&P 500 definitely on a monthly basis. Don't forget to do it. And also too, invest in tangible assets. If you qualify for a VA loan, if you qualify for an FHA loan, get yourself a house, get yourself a condo. I highly recommend condos because, you wind up getting married, you grow out of it. What you do is you rent it out to someone else. Right now I'm getting over $1,000 a month more than what it cost me for a condo that I bought 10 years ago, not to mention it appreciated over 50% in value. So always invest in tangible assets, always invest in the S&P 500, and most importantly, always invest in yourself. That's the best investment you could ever make.
So for those of you that are listening, that is probably one of the probably some of the best advice that you can get for long term. Very, very safe. I take a little bit of a different approach. I don't know how many times how many times were you considered like pulling your hair out, telling me to try to invest safe and invest smartly instead of me just going all in on Tesla or all in on one thing? How frustrating was that?
Well, I call you the golden goose. Reason being is that you put all your eggs in one basket and you don't let anybody tip it over and you watch it carefully. I'm a little bit older than Randy. So, and also too, I play things a little bit too safe too many times in my life. But he was 100% right about Tesla. He literally 10x my investment on that. I followed along with him because he told me what. Yeah, that's right. And you know what? I followed with OMI too, and I'm still holding. I'm still holding my Ether. I'm still holding my Bitcoin, but my biggest position is in OMI. Sometimes you have to make bilateral bets like that. And it's something that you have to do, and it's going to pay off in spades. Just like Randy's confident, he's done his due diligence. I've done my due diligence on it, and I truly believe we're looking at something that's $1 to $5 over the next 2 to 5 years, maybe 10 years. But you have to make small bets like that too, and I do that as well.
Yeah, that's depending on how much burn starts happening from the circulating supply from OMI over the next 6 months is probably going to determine when we hit those particular marks. Now, if we can burn like 30 billion, let's say 10% from the circulating supply within the next year, I can see us definitely hitting a dollar probably by 2027, give or take, and then much faster on with the amount of money that's coming into this. I purchased a little more a couple weeks ago. I had a nice payday. I purchased another like 12 million OMI, so I'm at 144 right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
I gotta step my game up. Do
it. But this is usually, and I talk about you a lot, where you said you normally don't put any more than like 5K into any one thing, with the exceptions being, I think, Tesla and then OMI, and then maybe like one or two other things, like some deals. What's the criteria that has to be met for you to go and do that, to invest more than you normally would?
It's a difficult question. I trust you like a brother, and I know that you never steer me in the wrong direction. So with that, I felt very confident to put in more money. Also, if there's a company that you truly believe in, you like what their mission is. When it comes to companies, you're not investing in the horse, you're investing in the jockey. So when you have companies like Steve Jobs ran Apple, Bill Gates ran Microsoft, obviously Elon Musk is a freaking genius. He's the Einstein of our generation. We're really investing in those CEOs because you can have the best product or service in the world, but if you don't have a real true leader that's helping you to scale that market, capitalize on that market, and doesn't have vision like the aforementioned people, there's no point in getting behind the company. So when you have an opportunity like that, which I'm waiting for the next one, and I'm open to ideas if anybody has them, but those type of companies are revolutionary. You look at the numbers that a Google and a Microsoft and Tesla and Apple are putting up, they're astronomical. These companies are all great. The younger you are, the better position you're in because you could take on more risk. And if something bad happens by the time you're 30 or 40, you can always make up for it. So the younger you are, that's the time to really save money, stockpile money, invest in yourself, invest in the S&P 500, invest in great companies. I'm waiting for the next company to come out, someone that has great leadership and a product or service that we use on a daily basis. Wise person once said, go through your credit card statements. Whoever's billing your credit card on a monthly basis, that's a company that you need to invest in. And I know when I go through mine, what am I seeing all the time? Google, Microsoft, Netflix, so on and so forth. So definitely invest in companies like that.
Yeah, I have and why I'm so bullish on this as well, because most of my purchases outside of OMI are to the VV app, where you can go on the web app now, and Google or Apple won't take that 30% from the normal mobile app. You can go to the web app and you can do that. But when companies like Microsoft are buying like Activision Blizzard and all that for like $69 billion, everyone coming nice down below for 69. It's not like it's Sony that they're they're betting a couple $1 billion, getting Bungie, the people that created Halo, to make their metaverse. But this is like a tens of billions of dollars deal, and it's a bet on the metaverse. They're betting that the metaverse will be something that everyone's going to want to play and work in, and they're betting lots for that. So I think something with the best IP like Vivi, having like Disney and Marvel and Star Wars and all that, probably a pretty decent bet. So I've been telling everyone to.
I 100% concur with you. Investing in the great companies right now, whether it's VV, Roadblocks, a lot of these companies are going to go up 10, 50, 100x. In my opinion, I'm not a financial advisor, so don't take that as a recommendation to buy or sell anything. But a lot of smart people have told me that getting involved with these organizations now is like buying the tech bust back in 2000, 2001, 2002. In my opinion, it's a generational opportunity to create tremendous wealth. So not only am I a strong holder on OMI, but there's a bunch of other companies that I put my small, $4,000 or $5,000 bets into. I threw it into the IRA, and I'll look back in 30 years, and I know at least one or two of them will probably 50 to 100x, in my opinion.
Yeah, easily. So there's something that I did kind of advertise on Facebook, but I haven't really brought up now. When you were in that part, you're obviously now you're much more, not much, but just a little bit older, a little wiser, a little more conservative. When you were working all those hours, getting up at 5 to go to the gym and really not stopping working until 12 at night, you did not have a family, like an immediate family that you had. Done, because this was in your early 20s. How has the work-life balance been achieved, and how do you maintain it? Because that's something I still struggle with.
That's a great question. I always put God and family first with everything that I do. It's something that I didn't learn until much later in life. But you really have to balance it. The biggest thing is that with the cell phones nowadays and with technology, I have an amazing wife. I love her more than anything. Between her and my 3 children, it's the greatest thing that ever happened to me. In the morning, before I leave, I make sure I give them all a kiss. I tell them how proud I am of them. I tell them how beautiful they are, how smart they are, and that they're capable of tremendous things that are going to far exceed anything that I'll ever do. And when I get home at night, I make sure that I put my phone down and I just focus on them. It's not realistic to do what, a Mark Wahlberg does. You should read up on Mark Wahlberg. I mean, he literally, he just arranges his schedule. I think this guy goes to bed at like 3 o'clock. He wakes up at 3 o'clock in the morning, goes to bed at 7. He's like an ideal father. He's so great with what he does. But, when you do have time off, and when you see them in the morning and when you come home at night, just give them your undivided attention. Let them talk, look them in the eyes, take in all the information, and stay off technology during those hours. That's why I love, you've been to the house in the Adirondacks. I love that place. Nobody looks at their phone up there. We're just hanging out, listening to music, burning wood, having a good time, riding quads around, going swimming in the lake. And those are the memories that they'll hold on to.
Yeah. No, that is 100%. I love that. I love going to, it's just a reset. I mean, also I feel like a man, like drinking like some whiskey while like walking in the woods. I feel like Ron Swanson. I feel like, I don't know, just all jacked up. Feel good. There's a quote by Jack Kerouac where he said, "My fault, my failure is not in the passions that I have, but in my lack of ability to control them." And sometimes for me, like I really get carried away with I'm up to like 3, 4 every morning, like going over like markets, whether on the VV app or going on Spaces, making YouTube videos. How did you how do you keep your passions under control? Is it just like hey, at this time I have to go and say this is family time now, or is that still a battle for you?
I went to a life coach several years ago, and he said something to me that I'll never forget. It relates to the law of attraction. Thoughts become things. He said to me when I was working for this other organization, what if I told you that you can work less hours and make more money? And I looked at him with a puzzled face. And then I said, how? And he said, you can if you believe you can. So I literally went from a time where I was putting in, 12, 16-hour days, 5, 6 days a week. In college, I stacked all my classes on Tuesday and Thursday so that I could work the other 5 days a week. And during the holidays, I was literally putting in 100-hour weeks in retail sales because that was the busy time to make money. But when he said that to me, I didn't get it at first, but I wrote it down and I kept going back to it over and over again. When you want something bad enough out of life, your brain will find a way to make it happen. So the best advice that I can give you is know that you can achieve your end results working less hours if you believe that to be true. Whenever we say anything to ourselves, we speak it out loud, what we're doing is we're feeding our subconscious level of awareness. When you feed your subconscious level of awareness with enthusiastic and charismatic instructions, your brain takes that as an instruction. And then you'll find a way in that universe to achieve those goals. But you can sit there and you can say, look, I'm going to write everything out. This is what I'm planning on getting done for the day, but I'm going to cut myself off at this time. Health before wealth. Got to get your sleep, got to work out. Very important. We only get one body. They say that people, they chase wealth their whole life. And then when they get to a certain age, they have all that wealth, but then they have to go in reverse and spend all that money to chase health. So finding that proper balance is difficult, but make it one of your goals and put it on paper. I know for me, I got to go to the gym 6 days a week. I got to do at least a half hour of cardio, and I do circuit training for a half hour to 45 minutes when I'm there as well. Sometimes I cut it down to 50 minutes, whatever I got to do. But I also focus on eating healthy, natural foods. I don't eat fast food. Maybe I'll have some chicken wings every other week. And if you're drinking alcohol, which is bad for you, I still do it. I love having beers. I love having wine. I love having whiskey, but limit it. Bring it down to a day and a half a week. You have to be disciplined with everything that you do. If you're disciplined with what you do, you'll stay in good shape. You'll make money at the same time, and you'll be much happier. Because look, even if you have your 150 million, right? 10 years from now, 20 years from now, if you sacrificed your health, it's not worth it. You can't spend it if you're in bad health and you're not here, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. The I've been so I exercise not every day, but a good 5 to 7 days a week, depending on the week. Problem is eating. I love food, so I've been doing really good today. Today start our new diet. I just got back from vacation from San Diego. Just protein shake, some chicken, and I have some eggs in the fridge. So I'm back on the diet.
Excellent.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to lose a lot of it's gonna be water weight. A lot of it's just gonna be a lot of whatever, but I'll lose a good amount pretty quick. The when did you when did it slow down from like, hey, I'm gonna bench like 405 today versus like I'm just gonna do a bunch of this for reps because I don't want to hurt my shoulders? When did that change?
I hurt my shoulder again about 3 years ago. Yeah, branch fell down in the backyard, doing the Hercules things like I'm a young punk, and threw something over the fence and hurt my shoulder. So I said, you know what? I'm going to get this thing back to health, and I'm just going to do slow reps, take it easy, make sure that I warm up before I lift. And, a good friend of ours, He always said it's not about how much weight you lift or how many reps you do. It's about how many muscle fibers you tear, because that's what you're doing. That's how you build muscle. You know, you're
Yeah.
tearing muscle fibers and you're replenishing it with protein and a healthy diet, and that's what's going to build up your muscles. And he also said, do you want to lift until you're in your 80s, or do you want to be done by the time you're 50? And that made sense too. So, you know, you got to take care of your body. You know, that's your temple, the Holy Ghost. You got to make sure you keep it in great health.
No, that's good. I agree. Uh, so as far as health goes and is concerned, is there anything that you might do in the future? Like if, let's say, CRISPR comes out and say, hey, we could change some of your DNA so that it makes it, I don't know, replacing the telomeres at the end of your at the end of DNA strands, or if you go and say, hey, I have this gene that is shown to give people X disease. Do you think at that point we're playing God and you should let things be natural, or hey, if I could fix it, I might as well?
It's a great question. The technology that's out now is truly amazing. And I couldn't give you a great answer right now because I really haven't given it much thought. If it's the difference between life or death, you know, sometimes you got to take shots in life. And I wouldn't judge anybody pro or con. So, you know, it's everybody's ultimate decision to make on their own.
Uh, so nobody can work forever, although some people do. Some people do things till the day they die. Is there in the next couple of years when, you know, let's say you have X amount of million OMI, and then OMIs die, you have X amount of millions of dollars. You still going to work? What's next after this? Would you slow down a bit, working 2-3 days a week?
I'm always going to work. I love working. I really do. And, you know, it's never about the money. I know it's not about the money for you too, because I know what your goals are, and I know your followers know what your goals are. And you're the most heartfelt, genuine, one of the most heartfelt and genuine people I've ever met. Altruistic, and I just love you, bro. You're just absolutely
I love you
amazing.
too,
You're a
man.
brother to me, and I'm so proud of you too. I know that you know that I am, but I really, really, truly am. The biggest thrill here, and it's the biggest thrill for you too, is helping others to succeed. That's what the recipe is. That's what life is all about. And I really love teaching people how to sell, how to make money. I love teaching people to become a better version of themselves and, you know, have great relationships with their family, have great relationships with the friends that matter. It should always be a two-way street. You know, make sure that these people are giving you as much as you give them. And I like to see people happy. I mean, people say that, you know, happiness is a decision made, not an emotion felt. But I love to try to get people to that point where they're really truly happy with where they are, and that they're in a better position than they were before they met me.
Great. And I cannot thank you enough. I tell people all the time that there's a lot of other richer, smarter people out there that what they want is I feel like a lot of billionaires or rich people in general get really a bad reputation as like they don't care. But I feel like a lot of people really just want to pass on what they know. And I want to thank you for passing on a good amount of what you know to me. It's meant the world. I don't want to keep you too long because I know you got a family to get back home to. So I will leave you with this one question, which I brought up a couple times to other people. In Star Wars Episode 8, Rose Tico goes to and she says a line. She says, "You shouldn't destroy what you hate. You should save what you love." What is one thing that you would want to save before the end of your life?
It's another great question. One thing that I would love to save. If we could pull together and figure out a way to prevent famine and to feed people, I would love to save human civilization. I would like to see more people have families and come up with a sustainable food source. This way, people can continue to eat and we don't have to worry about people dying. You know, there is a food problem going on right now, and
Yeah,
it's getting very, very bad. You know, we're very blessed that we live in the United States. There's so many third world nations out there that they're experiencing 50% inflation. They don't have food. They're storming capitals. Their leaders have abandoned them, and it's a terrible thing. I just want to see everybody do well, have healthy water, have a sustainable food source, and and not have to worry about where they're going to sleep at night. So if I could help to save human civilization one way or another, and maybe we could pull together and do that, that's the one thing I would like to see saved, brother.
I think we could make a lot of headway together. I think, and we'll discuss it on Sunday when we go and hang out, grab some lunch. But yeah, I think even if we wind up not achieving that goal, I think we can move the ball forward quite a good bit, and then somebody else in the future can kind of grab that torch and keep going. But yeah, I'd bet on us.
100%. Me too, man. We just keep paying it forward. That's what it's all about.
100%. I will talk to you off camera a little bit, but I will end the broadcast. Everyone say bye bye
Yep.
to Dashi. Bye bye, Dashi. Thank you so much for coming
Thank you
on,
so
Dan.
much for having me. Love you, brother.